Well, Phil, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm here with Phil, who's the Principal Manager for Marketplace Trust.
Yes, that's correct.
We had some good conversations about the upcoming Marketplace and new security badges. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what's coming there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've taken a look at the current security badges we have on the marketplace, and we just don't think that our bar is set high enough at the moment for our enterprise customers and what they're looking for in their procurement processes. So we did a lot of interviews with customers around, like, what does a procurement process look like for a big company in a highly regulated industry, for example. And we saw that these things can take up to 12 months with the amount of back and forth going between the customer and the marketplace partners. So we took all of the sort of critical things that they're looking for and sort of packaged that up into this new program. So we're really hoping that this will help streamline and accelerate the procurement deals. So it'll help customers and partners with getting apps purchased.
Where do you see challenges with these badges, both for customers and for partners?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think for partners, I mean, there is heavy investment, I suppose, in things like compliance, security programs, that kind of thing. But I think if the customers aren't asking for those things already from you, the customers probably aren't as big or at that stage yet. So I think something like compliance, something like SOC 2 or ISO, these are becoming more table stakes for customers now, right? Like, I think if customers aren't asking you for those, it's quite a surprise normally.
Yeah.
But I think these investments that you make will help your business in the long run as well. So we're not sort of mandating things that aren't important for what we're seeing from customers.
And do you think it was set apps apart from all the vibe coded?
I think so. I think we were chatting about this, and anyone can vibe code an app, and anyone can sort of use an NCP server and just build something. But if you're not wrapping these apps up in something like Forge, which has all of the authentication and all of the security already built in, like, there are security implications and things like that. And I think we'll see more of that as time goes on. But it is fantastic just to be able to whip up an app and test out an idea, figure it out and see if it's viable, and then wrap it and use Forge, and then, invest. We're not saying to invest in all of these trust things and compliance things, straight away. But I think as you start attracting those bigger customers, you'll start getting those requests. So I think, and being able for customers to be able to see the investment that partners are making, I think is really important as well. And I think one other thing to point out with the new trust program is the new badge will be one of a number of things that we're doing to up-level marketplace trust. We're also going to be servicing more granular trust signals, so showing every trust investment a partner makes and making them all filterable as well, which means that we'll be able to sort of feed that information back to partners to say, hey, look, this is what customers are actually looking for from a trust perspective, so you can make decisions based on demand rather than just one-offs or intuition.
Yeah, thank you. So if a customer wants to start, they have this tiny feature that they're missing, they want to build it, what would the first step be for the customer to get started?
I think today with the advances we've made with Studio, for example, they can go to Studio today and they can just run an app build command or prompt, and they'll have something up and running relatively quickly. They could use Rovo Dev to do that. Like, we have all our MCP tools. So I think building apps has never been easier. It's just, you can get up and running in minutes and have something up and running, testing, and then you can scale it out and make it more performant as you see.
And what's the difference between building in Studio and then building with Rovo Dev? Is it a level of knowledge required?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I think for Studio, it's very much for the I wouldn't say tire kickers is probably the wrong idea, but for the low code, no code users, people who don't have that kind of, I guess, the technical knowledge and they just want to get something up and running quickly. I think Rovo Dev tends to be a bit more for the more power builders. So you are in the command line, you're using the terminal, there's a bit more of a technical knowledge needed.
Yeah.
So Studio is probably the best place to start, and then once you get up and running and you're a bit more confident, Rovo Dev is probably a good place to go from there. But I think if you're just trying to build something quickly, Studio is great for that.
And then if you think about challenges that come along with that, everyone vibe codes their own tool in the company. I can imagine there's a lot of maintenance, on the person that initially built it. You will have a lot of tech.
Yeah, no.
Right? So how do you feel about that? What do you think is coming? What's happening? What are the challenges?
I think we'll see admins' jobs becoming a lot harder as everybody's building this stuff, because I think people are generally, and I think Mike might have talked about it in his keynote, or someone talked about it, I think maybe at Partner Accelerate, that with the AI at the moment, people are just building things for themselves. They're building like personal productivity tools to help them get through their day or keep themselves organized. But everybody's building different things personally. No one's really building things for their team or for their company.
Yeah.
So I think what we see is there's just a lot of this vibe coded stuff out there, but it's also consuming lots of, what could essentially be company data, confidential data, user-generated content. So I think there's a big challenge for admins to know what can be used and what, what's being consumed and what isn't. So I think there are big challenges there, but I think admins are going to have to evolve, I think, just to be able to put controls in place for these things rather than, I don't think we should stifle innovation, because what someone builds for their own personal use would probably be useful for a team or for a business. So I think it's more about just making sure the controls and the compliance and policies are in place that, for data usage. Yeah, exactly, that's right. But don't stifle innovation.
Yeah. That's, by the way, something that we do as well. We look at, customers vibe coded for chaps, trying to help them, get to the security level that they need. So
and I think that does definitely come second to innovation. You build something, you see if it works. If it sticks, if it does, then you can layer the trust, the compliance on top. I think that's generally the way to go. And I think if you're building stuff for yourself, I mean, that's the first challenge, right? You fix a problem of your own, and then you see if other people have the same problem. So.
Yeah. Well, Phil, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of the show.
You too. Thank you.